Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Down the Sidelines. I'm your host on the away sideline, your boy Matt Crowley, aka Matty Icy.
Yeah, welcome everybody to episode 17. I'm pretty sure, so I watched the last episode last night
I saw that.
and I said episode 15 and you're like, "Yeah, 15." And I was like, "Okay, we're going to go with it." But then I saw we were on 16. So we're on 17 now. Hello
We
everybody
can't do
here on
math.
the Yeah, we can't. I graduated from Amro. This
That makes
guy
sense.
I don't know what your excuse is for the bad math,
I'm
but
just dumb.
all right, valid
I'm just
excuse.
I'm just stupid. Oh,
You
my
said you're on
flag.
the home side. You said
I'm
you're
on
the
the
home
away
sideline.
sideline. Yeah, hold up.
All right, on the home sideline with finally a working microphone is Brenden Retzloff, aka 99 Bretts or Bretts.golf. Either or, while this guy is fixing his flag of the choking Vikings, giving the thumbs up, kind of feeling like a golf commentator as he's lining up for a putt, but he's just setting up a flag. So we'll see what he can do here. Tries to put the command strips on evenly, and he does as it goes.
After a little mishap, we are finally able to get my flag up because
I was doing some nice golf commentary of you putting up your flag. You'll enjoy listening to it.
oh yes, I'm sure I will.
Yeah, so here on the home sideline, I already told you guys my name and everything, but we welcome all you guys. What a week.
I
What a
know
week
regular
this
season
was,
has finally is officially done. It's crazy. I can't believe we're already in the playoffs. It just seemed like last night I'm in my room and I was watching the Bills and Rams kick off the season opener. It's crazy to think that it's here.
It's super sad to think about it because I don't know if you watch NFL Red Zone at all,
I don't have it,
but
no.
dude, Scott Hansen, he put an incredible 18 weeks of work in doing commentary and everything for, I mean, all the NFL teams, the entire NFL network organization, and like even helping like DirecTV and I think Dish, but it was mainly DirecTV with all of that work. It's just sad to see his time come to an end, or a season come to an end at least, and then we gotta wait all the way until next September. Dude, we gotta wait like 9 months.
I
It's
know it's gonna be super. I don't like it. I don't like it. I like the regular season more than the postseason.
Yeah, I would agree with you. The regular season, it just means every single football team is playing and they got something to play for. And then when it comes to the playoffs, like don't get me wrong, the playoffs they're entertaining,
They
but like
are. Some of the
it
best moments have come in the playoffs. So,
your Minneapolis miracle that you
are
will
you
forever
not
be grateful
entertained?
for.
I am very entertained.
Yeah, but the playoffs they kind of just signify that this season's coming to an end, and it's super sad to think about.
It really is. I mean, it's gonna be different if I was going over our game predictions and all that. We still don't know what we're gonna do. Probably make our top 10 lists about the our opinions on the receivers, quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, defensive backs, and all of those. Just something that we've talked about. But right now, I like the 2 episodes a week because obviously we got the game predictions and we gotta go over them. I really like that. I think we added a third episode, be a little bit more stressful. Yeah, your lighting just is fucked.
Dude, it's so sunny here.
Same
You know
here.
how they say it's always sunny in Philadelphia or it's always sunny in Miami? Well,
It's sunny in
it's
Stevens
always
Point.
sunny in Stevens Point.
Yeah,
I,
usually
like,
it's dark
I
and
don't get it,
gray
dude.
at Lakeland, but surprisingly it's sunny out.
I mean, you guys are like a few miles off of Lake Michigan, correct?
Yeah, we're like 10, 15 miles.
So bad.
Oh, oh,
It is so bad. I'm gonna
jeez.
fix it.
Yeah, turn it
You can
off.
keep talking.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, by the way. But this right here.
Yes, as we saw last night, that the Packers lost very badly to the Detroit Lions. Aaron Rodgers, we do not know what's going to happen with him. If he's going to come back a Packer, or he's going to retire, or maybe become a Tennessee Titan. We do not know, but stay tuned in this episode to find out more.
You know I can hear all of that.
Exactly, that's what I said. That's why I said it. But no.
They did not get smoked by Detroit. We'll talk about that game in a bit, but
yeah.
I'm upset about it.
But I think we should go on to our honestly, yeah, the final regular season games, we just touched up on that, but some major injuries that This is from a playoff team who's already secured their 5 spot, and they decided to start their starters. I think it was only in the first half. And 2 of their
no, they played
the whole game.
No, what happened was, so once the Broncos ended up getting up by I think it was 14. It was either 10 or 14 points.
Yes. So the team that we're talking about is the Los Angeles Chargers, by the way.
Yeah, this was the end of the third quarter, and then they decide to bench Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams. But Mike Williams, we'll talk about him eventually here. And basically their entire starting lineup, except for Keenan Allen, which was the most ridiculous thing ever. I'm like, Brandon Staley, what the frick are you doing out here? You guys are already clinched for the 5 seed. Just let the Broncos win the game, as both of us predicted was going to happen. That changed his prediction because we figured. Was that?
It was the Giants-Eagles. Originally, when we did our episode of King Customs, I had picked the Giants, not knowing that they were going to sit their starters.
Yeah.
So the Giants sat their starters, their key players, so Daniel Jones, Saquon, then that's really it. And then Jalen Hurts came back to play, and they ended up winning. It was only by 8 points. I was actually super surprised that it wasn't by more. Giants had their second strings on, they lost by 8, which is still pretty good. So I'm a little bit worried about Philadelphia, but they have a bye. They'll be fine. But yeah, so Mike Williams had X-ray on his lower back. Test came back negative. We are waiting word from Adam Schefter, which is how I found it, on what his condition is, if he's going to be okay. And then Joey Bosa also had an injury, but they didn't really say what his injury was. They just said, Bosa and Williams came off with separate injuries. And you said Mike Williams was carted off the field. I saw that.
Yes.
I was watching the LA and Seattle game at the time. That was a hell of a game. Whew.
I had all of Red Zone on. I mean, I had to support NFL Red Zone for the last.
That's good.
It's last day of the season, but I'm trying to pull up the news here to see what this was all about for the injuries for the Chargers. But you can go ahead.
Yeah, so honestly, it was a pointless game. You have the 5 seed secured. You couldn't be any lower. You couldn't be any higher. So they were like, all right, it's the Broncos. What's really the deal? The reason that we picked the Broncos, I said in our last episode, is that the Chargers are 1-5 now all time in Denver. So Denver was actually favored to win this game. And this is what happens when you play stupid games. You get stupid rewards. Obviously, for fantasy, didn't really go the best. I started Mike Evans, got 0 points after putting up 50 points last week, so that was not fun. But it was a stupid game. A lot of the teams, playoff teams, I know Minnesota, I watched that game, obviously. They played their starters for the first half, and then they benched them, which is probably the correct way to do. Because honestly, you knew that you still have contention for the 2 seeds, so you're going to try and get it. But when you're winning by that much, you're going to win. Obviously, we won by 2 scores, so that's our second game this year that we won by 2 scores. But, yeah, it's just basically coming down to you play stupid games, you get super rewards, and now They said that last night on Sunday Night Football that the Chargers and the Jaguars are 50-50 split.
Wow.
They're a 50-50 split, and then I think the Niners have a 64% chance to beat the Seahawks. No, that was Minnesota against New York has a 64% chance. And I think Seattle, I think it was like Green Bay, it went down to like 58, but I think it was like 62% if San Francisco played the not 49ers, the Seahawks.
Okay, so I just had to drink some water there. I was coughing a little bit. So Kenneth Murray Jr., he's also injured for the Chargers.
Don't know who that is, but I assume
I
it's going to be a starter.
I believe he's a linebacker, a starting linebacker for the Chargers.
Play stupid games, he gets stupid rewards.
He has a stinger, and he's reported as questionable for next week. The thing about this though to me is I understand like you play stupid games, you'll get the stupid rewards, but I have this belief that you always want to play your starters. Like you start your starters for 18 or 17 straight weeks, like whatever. Like they have to play at some points. Like just keep giving them play time because they're your best players. Like I understand there's a risk of injury, but like the risk of injury is low, and even if you play your starters in a game that doesn't really have any meaning to you, or really for the other team, what the other team just wanting to win, like the Broncos, like just don't play as hard.
Yeah,
that's how I kind of see it. Like the thing that really makes me question every single thing that the Chargers did though is why Brandon Staley had them play for 3 quarters and then had them sit out in the 4th.
That seems stupid for me. Like Tom Brady, he played the first quarter. Like Buccaneers, they played their starters the first quarter, sat them for the last 3. Minnesota, they played them the first half, rested them for the second half, which is, you don't want them to.
Which is hard.
What, resting them at half?
No, language is hard.
Oh yes, language is
English
very
language
hard.
sucks.
It really does, but but yeah, it's really like that makes sense because you don't want to have your starters be completely. It's like if they get into a rhythm, then it just become a cold streak, and then they gotta work into that rhythm again, which is why sometimes having that first round bye is actually the worst thing you can do.
It screwed the Packers, and the Titans. It screwed both 1 seeds last year.
It did, because Cincinnati beat Tennessee, and then we all know what the San Francisco 49ers did to the Packers.
Yeah.
But it was a stupid game, stupid reward. That's how I see it. You got your consequences. You shouldn't be playing them for the whole game. So if it's a useless game, even 3 quarters, at least play them for a half.
Well, no, I'm thinking you can play them for the entire game, but why play them for 3 quarters of a game? To me, that makes absolutely no sense. I understand if you don't play them at all for the entire game, or maybe you just play them for a quarter. When it comes to a half or 3 quarters, I don't know what you're thinking.
If you do a half,
mind-boggling. It's stupid.
Well, if you play for a half, there's nothing. I don't see nothing wrong with that compared to 3 quarters. You're halfway through the game, maybe I don't know how to say it because Minnesota played for their starters for a half, and then they put up their backups, and their backups did completely fine. Which I was like, okay, that's fine. You want to give them a rest, especially your big guys, Cousins, Jefferson, especially Dalvin Cook, because he got injured. So now him not playing, well, he didn't really play for the second quarter. It was mostly Alexander Madison. But that was just huge for. Well, now Dalvin's going to be injured. Now what we're going to do? Alexander Madison, he's still a good running back, but he doesn't have that explosiveness like Dalvin Cook. But you want to rest your big guys like Cousins, Thielen, Jefferson, KJ Osborne now. Dalvin Cook, as I said. Zadarius Smith and Harrison Smith did not.
How about Justin Jefferson's hair in that game?
He reminded me of Randy Moss. He looked like Randy Moss.
He does.
He looked like Randy Moss. I'm like, he looks like Randy Moss. I'm not kidding. I saw him with the fro. I'm like, is that Randy Moss? But no. I can see for a half, but 3/4 at that point, just finish the damn game.
It just doesn't make sense one bit, man, because this game, it played close for 3
It
quarters.
was.
And then all of a sudden, it's like the game's close. People want to see an entertaining football game. And, like, yeah, the game was pretty entertaining. But then it's like, why did you sit your guys out after 3/4? So one thing I kind of have thought about was the Mike Williams injury. I believe the injury happened pretty close to the end of the 3rd quarter in the game. So then I'm wondering if from there, if Brandon Staley was like, whoa.
I wonder if his original plan was to
playing our guys.
he's like, oh shit, this is an eye opener. We just lost our best receiver. We need to sit these guys, and maybe their original plan was, okay, they're playing the whole game no matter what, and then one of their star players goes down. Like, imagine if it was Eckler or Herbert, then that would be really bad.
That would have been a huge game changer, and the Chargers, they would stand no chance against the Jaguars.
No. But, yeah, that's our opinion on that. I guess the next thing to do is that 2 coaches have already been fired from the NFL within the last 24 hours of the regular season games. One of them is Lovie Smith, the head coach for the Houston Texans, and Cliff Kingsbury of the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, let's be real. Let's start with Lovie Smith. He was the first one. The man just absolutely was fucking stupid. He just tanked. All they had to do was lose, and they get the 1 seed. That's all that they had to do.
So Lovie Smith, he was the coach of the Chicago Bears for a pretty long time.
That's right.
Back in the day. There is some news speculating that Lovie Smith did this on purpose. But one really interesting thing is, I'll put my mic away, further away from me. One interesting thing from this game, so I watched this on Red Zone. It was 4th and 20. Under 2 minutes to go for the Texans. And Davis Mills throws a freaking Hail Mary, basically. And either a safety or the corner from the Colts had the easiest pickoff or interception of his life right in front of him.
Did it not just go right through his hands?
The ball went right through his hands, and then some Texans guy scored the touchdown.
It was Atkins.
And then the Texans went for 2.
And they got it.
One thing about the Texans going for 2 that is really weird to me is that's when I think this could be Lovie Smith being the coach of the Chicago Bears. Like, trying to save the Bears or something.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what's going to happen with that. But, dude, Lovie Smith, he was trying to win a football game. I have the belief in, like, you want to win football games, but when it comes to you got the chance at the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft,
you gotta take it. You gotta take it.
You want. So you could have C.J. Stroud. You could have
Bryce Young.
I mean,
those are the 2 biggest names right now at quarterback, which they need.
Yeah, they clearly need, but I almost feel like the Colts need one more. I said that in the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
I mean, what I find interesting about that, like you said, it was like right after the Sunday night game, he got fired. And I'm just like, okay, well,
yeah, it's like, why at that time?
Probably because they didn't want to cause a drama. I don't know. Maybe they want drama. But it was
Maybe he
just
was already
super
fired and they
weird to
didn't.
see that. Oh yeah, he like I was like watching the game. Like I was getting like the updates. I like the update on top of the screen for like the Bears fans in case they would get the first round pick. I was like, Texans were leading the whole way. Then there was like maybe 5 or 7 minutes where the Colts were leading. I was like, oh yes, this is good. And then they score. I'm just like, the Bears have the number one pick. They don't need a quarterback. They don't need. They need to get wide receivers, but a wide receiver isn't going to go first pick unless people knew what Justin Jefferson was going to be doing in this league. I guarantee he would have been picked first. But now the Bears have control of the number one pick, and any team they can control what the team does. They can control any team. Like Texans want to trade up. All right, give us this player and a couple more draft picks. The Colts want to trade up for a quarterback to get Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. All right, trade us this player and maybe 2 or 3 more picks for this first round pick. Because I don't see the Bears really needing it.
They don't. I like. I don't see what the Bears are really gonna do with it. But here's the thing: the Chicago Bears, they're set up really nicely in the offseason. They are gonna be getting a lot of cap space, and there's been rumors about like Devontae Adams going to play with the
I
Chicago
have
Bears.
heard about that because Derek Carr is gone. I guess after we talk about the head coach, we'll go into the Aaron Rodgers thing.
Yeah.
But
So with like, I mean, the head coaches and all of that, I feel like the Bears, they're set up.
they're set
Um,
up. They don't need to draft a quarterback. One of my friends, he's like, "Oh yeah, Fields isn't the guy in Chicago." I'm like, "Yes, he is." Like, he's a running back
so
that can. He's basically a Lamar Jackson. That's how he is. But he
here's
doesn't
one.
have the arm like Lamar.
I agree with you. He doesn't have that crazy arm, like, but I mean, he is a really great quarterback. I think he is their guy too. Don't be surprised if he's an MVP candidate next year. Like, seriously, unless the injury bug hits him again. But,
I think we'll
um,
also see what the
yeah,
Bears do with the draft and do a free agency. See if they get him weapons, if they get him more wide receivers. Because I'm gonna be completely honest. I think I told you this yesterday. I texted you. I was like Claypool was a 1 year show, and then he was done.
yeah.
He hasn't done anything
And
since.
that was the Steelers selling when the Steelers they actually had a chance of making the playoffs, which cost them. But one thing about this number one pick for the Bears is they have plenty of options they can do with this. They can trade it to another team and like get so much value out of their draft or from another team. Like, what if they do get Devontae Adams? What if they make a trade with the Raiders? Give the Raiders the number one overall pick in the draft for a quarterback.
Ooh,
Like,
I like that. That's
I
interesting. I didn't think about that.
I haven't heard anybody think about that, and
That's very
I
possible.
feel pretty great for bringing that up. But
Yes.
it's it's a really interesting carousel what they got
Mm-hmm.
going on in the draft and for coaching and mainly for the Bears getting the number
Yeah.
one pick. But we can keep going with
Yeah.
the
Cliff
coaches.
Kingsbury. I mean, I think everyone like with 3 or 4 weeks left, they kind of knew that he was on the hot seat. He didn't have the greatest relationship with Kyler Murray, anyways. So it was like, oh well, it was like one word going against another, so it wasn't very good. He's never made a playoffs before. I think yeah, the Cardinals started 7-0 last year, and they didn't make the playoffs. I don't think.
Um, I think you may be right because I know the Cardinals didn't make the playoffs, and I know they were one of the best
They
teams
were
in the
one of the
league
best teams,
in
and
the
there was a
year.
Thursday night. The Packers came
Oh
in
yeah, the
there.
Packers
They
beat them.
beat them.
That was their first loss.
Yes,
And
that
then
was their
that's when
first
things
round.
kind of fell apart for him. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think people saw this coming. I mean, you have weapons, D Hop. You have, I mean, JJ Watt's not retired on his way to Canton, Ohio. Um, I don't know. You had to give Kyler more options and better play calling. That really would have kept you in the games more. But overall, it was just people saw this one coming for a while.
don't really know why. He kind of led his offense away from their old play calls back from last year. Like, I don't know if you noticed a significant change in the Cardinals' offense. I don't know if that had to do with their offensive coordinator, but I did hear the news that it was like Cliff Kingsbury. He was the one calling the offensive plays for Kyler Murray. Because him and Kyler, they had like a well built relationship. And then defensively, I mean, I thought the Cardinals were supposed to be pretty outstanding this year. JJ Watt's final hoorah. Congrats on the career, by
Yes,
the
he got a
way.
standing
I mean,
ovation from the 49ers crowd, which is
he,
awesome.
he still said that he's trying to process what he's going to actually say for his final send off.
Mm-hmm.
So like stay tuned for that, people, because JJ Watt, he's an incredible person.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure.
but then did you also hear about the GM? He also left the Cardinals.
I did not hear about that or see that.
Let me find it. I know the Cardinals GM ended up resigning.
Oh, shit. In the meantime, I mean, there's not too much. A lot of people have said this, but let's keep it in the NFC West with Sean McVay. Because there's speculation that he might step down. So I find this really interesting. But like when you have the worst record of a defending Super Bowl champ the following year, and you don't really know Stafford, I think Stafford and Donald are going to retire. Definitely Donald, I think, is going to retire.
Arnold's gonna retire. I think
Stafford,
Stafford may retire as well.
Stafford is in the air. He should, but I think he might play for one more year. Let me see who else is there.
On the Rams,
Yeah, I mean, those are really two
like
big ones.
for retirement or just
Yeah,
like
just kind of like
trading or
retirement, like
leaving.
Donald and Stafford. I mean,
Dude, another thing I just thought about is the Bears could get Cooper Kupp or something. They make a trade with the Rams for the number one pick. The Rams would get the number one pick. They get a quarterback because it seems like they're gonna have to rebuild.
yeah, because if Stafford's going to keep, they don't. Well, you have Bryce Perkins, and I don't know. Is something Wolf?
Uh,
I can't
so
remember his first name.
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But those aren't the guys in LA. I think they're relatively young, but still.
But they're just like names that are there that you kind of see
Fill
and
up the
you're just like,
roster.
yeah.
No. But going on to our next thing, um, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I talked about this. I mean, a lot of Packer fans are really worried, as the face on you kind of describes this. Um, what's in the future for him? Because it looked like last night after the game, they're basically him and Cobb. They were literally walking off together. Basically, it looked like a last hoorah or something like that. I mean, how Jameson Williams asked for his jersey, and he said, "I'm gonna hold on to this one." So then that really started speculating. Okay, is Rodgers gonna retire? Because isn't this a 1 year deal? Like his contract was like set up for like in case he wanted to retire.
Yeah, so he had the 1 year deal and then he would get the extra $58 million or 58.3 million for the next year. Which the Packers cap space by the end of this season it's gonna be really bad.
I think wasn't it like
Um
last year or 2 years ago? They were literally almost in the negatives.
yeah, they were also down really bad. And that was the time where it was Rodgers
Or Adams.
like and Rodgers like yeah, Rodgers and Adams with the speculation of them like leaving the team, and that's when Adam Schefter was going crazy about it, and he actually made up a story. Um, dude.
I mean,
So drive the floor here.
yes, you may have the floor.
Gosh,
Because you are the Packers fan, and as a Vikings fan, I don't want to see him anymore. Like, the reign of
Um,
Aaron Rodgers for the past 12 freaking years is over. I really hope so.
yeah. Um, okay. So last night, I almost cried.
You
Um,
did say that.
it it was such a sad moment to see as a fan of the green and gold for my entire life. Um, because I don't think Jordan Love he's like going to be that quarterback who is going to change this franchise. And clearly, I think we saw Aaron Rodgers' last game as a Green Bay Packer and maybe his last game in the NFL.
Ah,
Um, and then like just seeing him and Randall Cobb, dude, the history that the two of them have had together, even though it never led to a Super Bowl, it's just it hurts. Randall
didn't they
Cobb, I
win?
freaking love that guy.
Didn't
I
Cobb win
also
it in 2011 with them?
he wasn't on the team. His rookie year was the next season. So
Oh,
when he got that kickoff return for the touchdown against the Saints, that was his first career touchdown, and that was his very first play. So like,
wow.
it's such a special moment, and that was actually the last time before the weekend's the Vikings that the Packers had a kickoff return for a touchdown. Um, but back to what matters here. Um, yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he's done. I haven't seen him in like a lot of meandering of his thoughts like this ever. He seemed so much more emotional after this game compared to the other times you thought where like once they lost to the 49ers in like the divisional round or even them to the Buccaneers in the NFC Championship where he's I like he messed with people's minds. Like you could tell that like he wasn't ready to be done. You could tell that he was kind of like joking around saying, "We're just gonna see what the future has in store because you never know what's gonna happen." And he said it like I mean, like nothing was a guaranteed, but he didn't seem emotional about it or anything.
Mm-mm.
He loves the game of football. He's gonna leave the game of football, maybe for his 26-year-old girlfriend. Like, I don't freaking know. Dude, as a Packer fan though, it's really sad, and I think this franchise is seeing the
Might be
best of
going
itself
on the.
and is gonna go down.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go downhill pretty fast without Rodgers.
I
But
don't know what the Packers are going to do. That game yesterday was so inexcusable.
like, you
Like,
guys are lucky because you guys had Favre and then you went straight into Rodgers. It's like, now what we're gonna see with um, potentially Jordan Love. We
dude,
don't know what he's going to be capable of. Like, from what we saw, like, he's somewhat good, but I think he's not going to be the standards because now Green Bay has set that standard so high for him. Oh, Rodgers, 4-time MVP. Jordan Love, I don't even think he'd be lucky if he can be in the top 10 of the MVP conversation.
so Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers may be one of the greatest back-to-back tandems of quarterbacks ever for a team in franchise history. And we only won two Super Bowls to show for it. In the 29 years? No, it might have been a little longer than 29 years, but Super Bowl 31 and Super Bowl 45. I think Favre started with the Packers back in 94.
It might have been. What was his rookie year with Atlanta?
I want to say it was 90,
I think that might have
93.
been 94 was his rookie year, and then he came to Green Bay in 95.
You could be correct on that. If you want to do some research
Yeah, you might
on
see
that
me
while
typing.
I keep talking, but my gosh, these two quarterbacks, they are in the top 10 greatest QBs of all time, without a question. And when you have two of the greatest quarterbacks who have ever stepped foot on a football field, you expect to win, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 Super Bowls. Like, heck, Tom Brady, he's at 7 or 8. I don't even freaking know. Like, at this point, it seems like he goes to it every freaking year. I think he's at 7. But my gosh, it is so gut wrenching to see the Packers just fall apart like this. I even made some post on Instagram, or it was a story about like how disappointing this Packers team was after they were 4-8. Like, I know that they like made their comeback and everything to get to 8-8, but
I
it
found
doesn't matter. They didn't get in.
I
Go ahead.
found so Brett Favre was drafted in 1991 with the 33rd pick from Southern Mississippi by Atlanta. So it would have been 92 he came to Green Bay.
Okay, so from 1992 to 2022, basically 2023,
2023.
over 30 years.
You've
The
had
Packers have had these
back-to-back
quarterbacks for
amazing
over 30
quarterbacks.
years. They are two of the top 10 greatest.
And you have 2
Easily.
Super Bowls to show for them.
I don't know if that has to do with, the coaching staff, the other players on the team. I don't think it has to do with the other players on the team. Or if it just has to do with the clutchness and I don't want to say the overall success of these quarterbacks because they're pretty damn successful.
Mm-hmm.
They've combined for 6 MVPs.
I think
one
so.
One of them's won the most MVPs out of any player in the NFL. But here's the thing. That doesn't matter. All that matters is
No, I
if
think
you
Peyton Manning
win a
has
ring.
5. I think Peyton Manning has 5.
Peyton Manning has 5?
I think so.
I thought he only had 3. I think him and Brady have 3. But, like, comes to show for it, I am so disappointed.
Yes.
But here's the thing.
The Packers lead the most with 10 MVP winners, but Peyton Manning has 5.
Really?
Yes, he won 4 with Indy, and then he won the one in Denver when they won the Super Bowl 50.
Okay. When they won Super Bowl 50? No, it had to be the year before that.
Oh, yes,
Peyton
because,
Manning
yes,
sucked.
Cam Newton won that,
and
my bad.
The Broncos defense carried them.
Yes.
But okay, I'm just gonna finish off with these closing remarks on the Packers. I'm grateful to have witnessed my entire life 2 great quarterbacks play football and a great football team make the playoffs like 85% of my lifetime. But I am so disappointed and upset with how this franchise has handled a bunch of situations that have gone on. And as well as how we can't get past an NFC Championship game because Rodgers, he's been to 5 or 6 actually, and he's lost 5.
So
And a lot of them are very disappointing losses, and they make me want to cry every time I think about them, especially the Seattle one. I think that one hurts so bad.
the Phil
But
Mary.
even that game too.
You're talking about when they were leading 16-0, and then Russell Wilson threw 4 interceptions and still won the game. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. My closing thoughts. Thank you, Green Bay. This is my thank you for everything you've done. I'm not saying I'm leaving this team's fan base. Absolutely not saying that. I will forever.
That's what it kind of sounds like.
It doesn't mean that I'm leaving. This right here is meaning that I don't see good things to come for this team, but I'll always support them. I know I'm wearing a Joe Burrow shirt, but the Bengals, they're my number 2. Packers, you are forever my number 1 team. Forever number 1. And I just want to say thank you, Aaron Rodgers, for all the work you've done for this team, as well as Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver, Jermichael Finley, Charles Woodson, like all of these guys, man. Clay Matthews, like thank you, Packers. And I wish you guys the best of luck next year, but I'm damn scared.
All right.
All right.
As for the Vikings fan, I really hope we don't ever have to see you again. That's all I can say.
Fuck you. God damn it. Yeah.
Brenden just goes on this emotional, how he's thankful for everyone. I'm just like, I hope we never see you again.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for some sympathy to me or whatever.
No, and like I don't think you realize this, but his last, like, obviously I'm gonna talk a little bit about if he does retire, please. But the teams that I can see him going to, if he still wants to do it and that he doesn't want to play the Packers, are, I've heard, well, one of my fraternity brothers is a huge Bear fan. It's like, oh, Rodgers to the Bears. I don't think he's going to go to the Bears. The most fitting would be Tennessee for him. Mike Vrabel is a super good head coach. He has, I would say, Treylon Burks is a little better than Christian Watson, but you have a better running back. You have Derrick Henry, one of the best in the league. And then the other one I thought was he goes to Las Vegas and reunites with Adams. Those are just mine, because I know there was talk last season that he could have been going to Tennessee. But I don't know if that is. Because honestly, I watched his post-game interview and it's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna wait and give them an answer until, like, he's gonna give his answer before March.
Bro, you want to know how thankful I am that he did not go to the Broncos? I still think Russell Wilson. I still think Russell Wilson. I think he's a good quarterback. He was just under the wrong guy. Did you, like, if you saw how Russell Wilson played right after Nathaniel Hackett left? He played more free, and he played so much better.
He did.
If Rodgers got put in that system, oh my God.
Yes.
He would have been so hated. Go ahead.
Yes. Finishing up with other things, like, I think it would be neat to see him reunite with Adams in the AFC. Then you have Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, Rodgers, Herbert. There was also talks of him going to Pittsburgh, but obviously that didn't go through. But I don't think you realize, but if he does retire, his last pass in Lambeau was an interception.
Sounds kind of familiar to
Tom Brady,
great quarterback.
Tom Brady. Yeah, but those are.
That.
But as you said last night, typical Wisconsin fan, the team you do really bad, then they get your hopes up, and then they just blow it. I mean, Detroit had nothing to play for. You literally heard them say, like, all right, Seattle won, we're not going to playoffs. And Dan Campbell literally said in the first quarter, is like, we're not going to playoffs, neither are they. But
the Packers played like a bad team. They played like a team that they were before they went on their winning streak. If they would have played like they were on their winning streak, 100% they would have won.
They played like they were on their.
They were so freaking stupid. Like, oh gosh.
They played like. Oh my gosh! He is so stupid. That's his second time being ejected for pushing a medical trainer.
Doing the same thing.
Especially the worst week to do it after what had happened to DeMar. So, anyways, let's get into our game recaps, shall we? I know.
Should we just recap the games that kind of had importance? like over the ones that
Yeah, we
like
don't have to go
don't
through.
really
We
have
don't have
meaning.
to go through all the stats. We're gonna keep this short because we're gonna try trim these podcasts down to around an hour and a half. We're already at 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll start the one with King Customs. He also, remember, if you watched 2 episodes ago, he made our picks as well.
Yes.
So the first one, Jacksonville Jaguars at Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars won. We all three of us guessed correctly. And I think the closest one was Cody, actually. He said 21-10. And the actual score was 20-16. Obviously, this game was huge for the AFC South. And boy, that was a game.
It really was. I mean, like, dude, some of the plays in this game, oh my God.
The
Like,
the
you knew
game
Derrick
winning
Henry was
play,
gonna
the
run over
game
the
winning play, a fumble. Josh Allen picks it up. The linebacker, not the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, picks up and for a scoop and score and wins them the game. I mean, that's just. But you also got to think about this.
that play also had controversy under it too. Like, I don't know if you heard
No,
like
it's not
obviously Troy
controversial.
Aikman.
It's not controversial. He had the ball was coming loose and he basically pushed it forward, but it looked like he was throwing it because the ball was moving as his elbow was like right here.
Like, yeah, like I agreed that it was a
And then it
fumble.
started
Troy
loose and
Aikman
then
does
he
not.
caught and then he threw it, which ended up being a fumble. Honestly, that was a huge game. Jacksonville gets into the playoffs. Then our
Okay,
next
so
one, or you got something to say about that?
I was just gonna ask you if you wanted to cover the home team or the away team in the games, but since you're on the away sideline, but
Yeah, yes. Let me pull up the scores real quick. Yes, you guys are sitting in silence right now.
yeah, wait, something.
What?
Wait, yeah, not so the Titans they finished 7-10.
Yeah, they started 7-3. They lost 7 straight.
My God, that's so brutal.
I know. So the first one we have I think the Titans were away. Yes. So Joshua Dobbs, 20 for 29, 179 yards, an interception, and a touchdown. Derrick Henry with 30 carries, 109 yards. Oh gosh, thanks Titans. Chigozim Okonkwo with 3 receptions, 42 yards, and a touchdown. And then for defense, Amari Hooker with 5 tackles. T.R. Tart with a sack. And then for kicking, Randy Bullock 3 for 3 with a 51-yard field goal.
I go back to what you said about Traylon Burks being better than Christian Watson.
Doesn't Burks have more touchdowns than him now?
Traylon Burks only has one touchdown this year.
Does he? I thought he had more.
Yeah, he only has one touchdown this year.
Oh,
If you look him up,
oh okay.
because Christian Watson, he's at like 7 or 8. I'm not.
Yeah, and all of those
I'm not
came
too
within the
fond.
span of like 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I just wanted to go back to that point, saying how ridiculous it was. But on the home sideline for the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, he went 20 for 32, 212 yards and a touchdown. Then Travis Etienne led the team in rushing with only 17 yards and 7 carries. Then leading the team in receiving was Christian Kirk, 6 receptions, 99 yards, and a touchdown. And then, thank you, Jacksonville Jaguars, for another difficult name. Boysadi Alukun led the team with 8 tackles. Shut up. I can do ASMR in this podcast. I'm not going to.
Please don't.
He had a sack. And then Rashawn Jenkins, much easier name to pronounce or enunciate. He had a sack in this game as well as Corey Peters. He had half a sack. Roy Robertson Harris, he also had a sack. Tyson Campbell had an interception in the game. Adam Gotsis also had half a sack in the game. And then the one who came up with the fumble recovery was Josh Allen, as we referred to, for the 6 points. Huge 6 points for the Jaguars. And then Riley Patterson went 2 for 2 kicking, making a 36-yard first long.
Yes. So obviously this game looked like Tennessee was gonna win. Obviously Tennessee is last in passing defense and first in rushing defense. So it's a little bit of a weird combo there, but Jacksonville pulls ahead. Honestly, I had my hot take from 5 weeks ago that something around there that Jacksonville were going to make into playoffs, and they did.
And it was, well, okay, this actually wasn't their only way to make the playoffs, but I got to find that clip of you saying that, but it's really difficult to do that because it's not video.
Oh, yeah.
It's just this screen.
It's
of,
just
like,
a
the
screen,
NFL
yeah.
logo.
Ugh.
So I don't know if I'll be able to make that type of edit, but I'm actually going to start working on those pretty darn soon.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll move on to our next biggest game. We had the Bengals, Baltimore Ravens at Cincinnati Bengals, title for the 4 seed. Bengals end up winning 26-16. All three of us guessed correctly. And the closest one was me. I said 28-13. Cody said 28-14 because he said that he was going to do 28-13. Final score 26-16.
Yeah, so wait, wasn't Cody closer then? Cody's been closest.
Oh yeah, Cody. Yeah, Cody was closer.
So far then.
Sorry,
and then
Cody.
I said 31-14. Actually, yeah.
Yes.
Yep, Cody was closer.
But
yep.
Anyways, for the Ravens, Anthony Brown, no Tyler Huntley, 19 for 44, 286 yards, and 2 interceptions. Leading the team in receiving, Kenyon Drake, 16 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown. Receiving, who led the team, Isaiah Likely, 8 receptions, 103 yards. Then for defense, leading the team in tackles is Roquan Smith with 12. Then David Ojabo with a sack. And Odafe Owe with half a sack, as well as Justin Houston. Obviously, Justin Tucker, 3 for 3 for kicking. Longest, it was 51 yards.
Then for the Cincinnati Bengals in this one, Joe Burrow, he went Joe Burr in this. He didn't really play like Joe Burr, though. 25 for 42, 215 yards and a touchdown. Then Joe Mixon, he had 11 carries for 27 yards and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, he had a touchdown reception right away in this one. He had 8 receptions for 86 yards. And then as for the defense, Eli Apple, he led the team in tackles. Typically, you don't see him leading the team, that statistic. Jesse Bates, the third, he had an interception in the game. BJ Hill, he had a sack. Mike Hilton, he also had an interception. Joseph Osai also had a sack. And then Trey Hendrickson had 2 sacks in this game. And then Evan McPherson, Money Mac, went 2 for 2. 34 yards was his long field goal.
Yeah, this game was basically dominated by Cincinnati. I don't think there's much else.
It was controlled by the Bengals the entire way. It doesn't help that the Ravens played Anthony Brown over.
Yeah. So also we should have added this earlier. They don't know if Lamar will play next week, so that'll be interesting.
He's been out for the last 5.
5, and I think 6 will be this week. So actually, let me see who they play. They play
the Bengals.
They play the Bengals, and I don't think they will win.
Yeah, so
in Cincinnati again. So
the same game. Yeah, I still feel really good about this Cincinnati Bengals team. Their defense doesn't get talked about enough. Trey Hendrickson, he's one of the biggest pieces on the defense. But you talk about their corners and Jesse Bates, and then Eli Apple. He's gotten a lot of shit in the past couple of years, but he's really found his house in Cincinnati. And then you also got guys like Jermaine Pratt. He's been playing pretty well this year. Sam Hubbard as well. I have really high confidence going into the playoffs for this Bengals team,
Mm-hmm.
which a good thing that they didn't get the coin flip type of game. And
Yeah,
talk
that will
about the
been.
coin flips. How about that coin flip celebration from Joe Mixon?
Oh my gosh, I saw that. That was awesome.
I mean, I think it was so somebody said they were gonna end up paying for it. I believe it was Chad Ochocinco. Like
No
he said,
way.
I don't care what this team does if they score a touchdown and they flip a coin and the player gets fined for it, I'll pay off his fine. So Joe Mixon, he's probably gonna get a fine. But dude, this got posted literally everywhere. So like even the NFL posted it, I
Yeah,
believe.
they
So
did.
like I can't really see this guy getting fined for it because he's spitting facts to the NFL, but he is really
The fact
disrespectful.
that he had a coin in his glove.
It's hilarious, dude.
Yes.
I want to know if it flipped heads or tails.
That's why I'm curious. But going on to our next big game, we had the Los Angeles Rams at Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks won this one 19-60 in overtime to make the playoffs. And we all three of us really said that Seattle was going to blow them out. You're the closest one, Brenden, with 24-10. I had 31-20, and Cody had 35-21. So taking it away on the Rams sideline, Baker Mayfield 13 for 26, 147 yards and interception. Cam Akers led the team in rushing, 21 carries, 104 yards. And Chatarius Atwell, 1 carry, 11 yards for a touchdown. For receiving, Van Jefferson 3 receptions for 61 yards. Then on defense, Bobby Wagner 7 tackles led the team. Quentin Lake 1 sack. Jalen Ramsey 2 interceptions, one on the very first play. Leonard Floyd a sack. Michael I think how you say Hochet. I think how you say his name Hochet. One.
Oh shit.
Shut up.
That's what you said.
Oh shit. 1 sack. That's gonna be a clip already, you know. Then Matt Gay 3 for 3. Longest was 45 yards.
So then for the victorious Seahawks, who have found themselves the 7 seed, Geno Smith, number 7, he went 19 for 31, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Then Kenneth Walker, he had 29 carries for 114 yards. Pretty key piece to the offense there. And then Tyler Lockett, 4 receptions, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Then leading the team in tackles, it was Cody Barton with 6. And then, you gotta be kidding me.
Have fun.
Uchenna, don't even know that last
Nwosu,
name.
I think it is.
Nwosu.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Uchenna Nwosu had a half sack in the game. And then Kobe Bryant, he had a sack in the game. Quandre Diggs, he had the key interception in overtime that Baker Mayfield handed to him that we'll talk about. Bruce Irvin, he had a sack and a half. Boye Mafe also had a sack in the game. And then Darrell Taylor had a sack. And then Jason Myers, he went 4 for 5 on his field goals, making a 37-yarder as his long field goal, which I believe was the final kick.
Yeah, I think it was the game winner.
So in this game, Baker Mayfield, he handed the Seattle Seahawks.
He had Van Jefferson wide open.
Oh my God.
He was wide open. I don't think Van Jefferson saw Quandre Diggs at all. And so I think Baker had put too much air under it. It should have been a direct beeline to Jefferson.
He threw the pass way too late. If he would have thrown the ball well earlier, Van Jefferson might have gone to the races. I'll keep talking while this guy is doing whatever he needs to do. But, oh my gosh, if you guys saw that touchdown from Geno Smith to Tyler Lockett, it was like a 45-yard touchdown pass. Geno Smith threw this thing like a dart. he threw that ball with so many revs on it, and Tyler Lockett, all he had to do was reach out his arms for the ball and just keep running, and the ball just landed right in his arms. But then a very, very interesting play happened in overtime as well. As the Seahawks were driving, Geno Smith, he ended up getting out of the pocket, running down the sideline kind of, and then kind of takes a step out of bounds. And then Jalen Ramsey, he's like right there.
That was the most biggest bullshit penalty I've ever seen.
Standing up, that's what I'm saying right now. He's just kind of just standing up like he's setting a screen in basketball. And Geno Smith just runs right into him. Like, he just goes,
Ramsey stood his ground.
Right into his shoulder pads. And then Geno Smith, he's laying down on the ground for a couple of minutes as they like try to help him back up. I don't know how he was allowed to go back into the game after that happened.
I don't know how DK Metcalf didn't get flagged.
And then DK Metcalf should have been flagged. He literally, did he grab his face mask?
He put his fingers in his face mask, flicked them up, and then headbutted him. It was right in front of the ref.
Blatant. The official was right there. And then all of a sudden, after that happened, Ramsey kind of got pushed and then he flopped.
Yeah. Have you talked about the roughing, the running into the kicker penalty?
No.
He got blocked in that. He got blocked and he got pushed into the kicker. Like, he had just touched the punter and he had... I fucking hate my roommates. And
yeah, what was that all about?
There's one of my fraternity brothers. He's at work and he's not supposed to be here. And
then he showed up.
I was like, "How did you get it?" I was like, "Oh, I climbed up on the balcony." I was like, "Bro, don't do that. You already broke the air conditioning unit for us once already."
He climbed the balcony to get in the building?
Yes.
Why doesn't he just walk through the door?
Because it's have key access.
Talk about breaking news here on the Dots podcast. Matt's roommate is stupid.
You don't have to tell me. He has one brain cell. Anyways, yeah, that was the biggest two very bullshit calls that kept Seattle in the game. Detroit should be in the playoffs, not Seattle. Even though we both picked, all three of us picked Seattle, it was like, I really want the Rams to win so that Detroit can get in.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing that you didn't pick them because you got the Packers and Lions game correct. But
yeah,
I guess your knowledge, like you wanted the Lions to get in, but you chose Seattle.
I guess we'll go into our next game after those very, very blatantly obvious BS calls. Then you got Myers, who missed a game-winning field goal.
Oh my gosh!
At the end of regulation. At the end of regulation, but he redeemed himself, so everyone will forget about that. Oh well,
that kick looked like it was gonna be so wide right.
Oh yeah,
and then
for
all
sure.
All of a sudden, it was kind of just like veering its way back towards the goalpost or the upright, and then right off the upright. Pretty funny, but.
Yes.
Yep, he avenged himself in that situation.
He did. I guess we'll go on to our next game. I had changed my prediction because, as I said earlier, I originally had the Giants beating the Eagles. Changed it to the Eagles after finding out that Jalen Hurts was coming back and that the Giants were benching their key players. Eagles win it 22-16. I think
I was the closest on this prediction. Yeah.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, so I had the Eagles, you had the Eagles, Kings Customs had the Eagles. So talk about a really hot start from all of us here, going 4-0 in our game picks.
5-0.
5-0?
Wait, hold on.
Jaguars,
crap.
Bengals, Seahawks, Eagles.
Yeah, I messed up.
But you did go 5-0 in our segment.
I did, yes.
But yeah, so I was close on that one. If you want to take the floor for the
Yeah.
Giants.
So Davis Webb, 24 for 40, 168 and a touchdown. Jamie Gillian, nothing. Lawrence Cager, nothing. Gary Brightwell, 11 carries, 60 yards, 55 touchdowns. Davis Webb, 6 carries, 41 yards and a touchdown. Then for receiving, Lawrence Cager, 8 receptions, 69 yards. Kenny Galladay, believe it or not, 2 receptions, 30 yards and a touchdown. And then leading the team in tackles were Darius Williams, 10 tackles. Jared Davis, half a sack. Micah McFadden with a sack. Dane Belton for interception. Nick McLeod of 1.5 sacks. And for kicking, Graham Gano, 1 for 1, 24 yards.
Dude, talk about like the meme on Kenny Galladay that was like,
He needs
this guy gets 76 receptions
to get his 700. Yeah, I saw that. 7,500. 7,500,000.
7,500,000. You worded that so weird.
750,000. There you go.
Wait, 7,500,000. What even is that number?
Right
I don't think
below
that's
a
seven. I don't think
750,000.
7,500. Oh yeah. You're right.
Math is hard.
It's just complicated when you word things differently. But
shut up. English is hard as well.
okay, so for the Philadelphia Eagles, actually, before I talk about that, the Giants could have beat the Dallas Cowboys if they would have played them.
Yeah.
I just had to throw out some hate on the Dallas Cowboys because screw that.
I think they're going to be one and done along with the Eagles.
We'll talk about that in a little bit here. So I'll jump into the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts making his return after missing 2 weeks. 20 for 35, 229 yards and an interception. Boston Scott led the team in rushing, 9 carries, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Then A.J. Brown led the team in receiving with 4 receptions for 95 yards. And then Kazir White led the team with 9 tackles, and he also had a sack in the game. And then Zach McPherson, Money Mac, number 27, he had a sack in this one. And then that was it for the Eagles defense. And then Jake Elliott, he went 5 for 5, making a 54-yard field goal as his long.
All right. So, yeah, honestly surprised how close this game was.
It wasn't really close going into the fourth quarter. The Eagles kind of just...
Yeah, it was 18-3. Well, 19-3. But then Giants came back and made it a one-score game, so that's kind of a little scary.
It did go down to an onside kick.
And the fact that the Giants had their second strings in was not good.
Like, this could be good news for the Giants, like telling themselves that they got depth, but then it's also bad news for the Eagles. But the thing about the Eagles, though, is I don't think they really put as much effort into this game, even though they played their starters. But Boston Scott led the team in rushing. He hasn't led the team in rushing at all this year. And then you got the typical guys like A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert, and then Quez Watkins. So I don't have anything else to add about this game here.
I don't have much about this since I was kind of scared. But, I mean, it's the Eagles. They get the bye. I think they're going to be, whoever they face, I think they're going to lose right away. I have a feeling
this playoffs is going to be interesting.
I feel like it's going to be Tampa Bay. In Tampa Bay, they're riding a hot streak right now.
We'll see what happens with it. Who knows?
I guess we'll go to our last big game, which is, cover your ears, Brenden. Lions at the Packers. Lions win 20-16. I was the only one who got it right. Cody King Custom says Christian Watson with 2 tutties. That did not happen. And I guess I'll go straight into the sacks. Jared Goff, 23 for 34, 224 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. It's kind of an off night for him a little bit. For rushing, Jamal Williams, 16 carries, 72 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Officially beats Barry Sanders' all-time single-season record of 16, and he finishes the year with 17. And all of them were like from 1 yard away. Receiving, Khalif Raymond, 4 receptions, 66 yards. Obviously, no interception. Leading the team in tackles was Mike Hughes, the former Minnesota Vikings. Kirby Joseph owns Aaron Rodgers. He is his father. He's picked him off 3 times this year. The only player to do that. Almost had it 4. He had a lone interception. Aiden Hutchinson with 2 sacks. That's it for the defense. And then Michael Badgley, 2 for 3. Longest was 37 yards.
Then for the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, 17 for 27, 205 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Inexcusable. And then leading the team in rushing, Aaron Jones, 12 carries, 48 yards. Packers, they needed to use their speed, and they didn't. And here's why they needed to use their speed. Leading the team in receiving was Christian Watson, 5 receptions, 104 yards. Then Allen Lazard, he had 4 receptions for 41 yards and a touchdown. Then Darnell Savage led the team with 7 tackles on the team. And then, let's see here. Devontae Wyatt, he had a sack, and this one, the only sack the Packers could get on Jared Goff. Nothing else doing there. And then Mason Crosby, he went 3 for 4, making a 49-yarder as his long.
He missed the field goal?
Yeah, he hit the goalpost, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, obviously we talked about Quay Walker. He needed 8 tackles to break the rookie franchise record for most tackles. He got 7, now he got ejected.
Yeah. Talk about another thing that hurts you and your own value.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah, this one, I've kind of already explained my thoughts, but I was texting you last night. Like, the Packers, they're not playing like they have, and then all of a sudden they just gave up on their speed, because they clearly had the speed advantage on the Lions, and the Lions, they were without who was it? It was an Ohio State corner.
Jeff Okudah?
Yeah, they were out without Jeff Okudah, who's one of their best defensive players, but the Packers, they got ruined by Detroit's defense, and I don't know how, because Detroit's defense is not good.
Yeah, it's really not. That's kind of... I mean, Minnesota, we lost to them as well. But y'all lost to them twice. But I think we do one more. I think it's fair that we do my team.
Sure, why not? Even though the game literally doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, but it's my favorite team, so we're going to go over it. And then we'll do the Patriots and Bills to end things off.
Yeah.
So for the Vikings on the away sideline, Kirk Cousins, 17 for 20, 225 yards and a touchdown. Nick Mullins, 11 for 13, 116 yards and an interception. Rushing, Alexander Madison, 10 carries for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns. Leading the team for receiving, KJ Osborne, 5 receptions, 117 yards. And then where is he? Adam Thielen, 2 catches for 8 yards and a touchdown. Leading the team in tackles was Chris Boyd with 3 tackles. Patrick Jones II had a sack. Duke Shelley got an interception along with Patrick Peterson. We didn't get any more sacks. Then
do I really have to go over the Bears?
Yes. Greg Joseph, 3 for 3. Longest was 50 yards.
All right. The Chicago Bears. The team that gets the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft, as we know of currently. So Nathan Peterman went 11 for 19, 114 yards and a touchdown. Congrats on not throwing an interception. It's pretty rare to see. Then Tim Boyle, he played for the Packers.
And he also played for the Lions.
I want to say a couple of years ago, and then the Lions. Yep. He went 2 for 8, 33 yards and 2 interceptions. Then Khalil Herbert had 10 carries for 50 yards. And then the 2 touchdowns that the Bears had were from Velus Jones Jr., who had 1 carry for 42 yards and that score. And then Cole Kmet, he had 4 receptions for 57 yards and the other touchdown. Joe Thomas led the team in tackles with 10. Joe Thomas seems to be a pretty good defensive player for the Bears. And then Greg Stroman, he had an interception in this game. Bears defense did nothing else with it. And then Cairo Santos only made an extra point. I think the Bears went for 2.
Yes, they did. They tried to get, it was when Cole Kmet had scored, and they threw to Kmet when Patrick Peterson was guarding him, so it wasn't the best choice.
Okay.
But yeah, Minnesota is 2-4, and well, they're 2-0. Well, how should I say this?
That aren't one possession games that they're winning.
They are 2-0 in games that they won by more than one possession. Thank you.
I was excited to bring this up. I've already told you about it. So the Vikings, they've been undefeated in their one possession games this season. But the Vikings, their total point differential to end the season is at -3. So the Vikings, although they did win every single regular season game that was one possession, they lost the entire season by one possession. I feel like that's pretty ironic. This guy's blowing his nose. I wanted him to listen to that. I don't know if he can right now. Matt, can you hear me?
I'm back. I had to blow my nose.
No, he could not hear me. I asked if you could hear me.
Oh, no.
But I just brought up the thing where the Vikings are undefeated in one possession games, and then when it comes to the entire season, they had a point differential of -3, so they lost the entire season by 3.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we should go over the Patriots and Bills, because that was kind of a historic one.
Yeah,
so,
I think
oh my gosh, you can't write this up. So Mac Jones, 26 for 40, 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Ramondre Stevenson, 6 carries for 54 yards. Devontae Parker, 6 receptions, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Jacoby Myers, 3 receptions, 32 yards, and a touchdown. Marcus Jones led the team with 5 tackles. Devin McCourty with an interception. Dietrich Wise Jr. with a sack. Daniel Ekulele with a sack as well. Then Nick Folk, 1 for 1 for field goals with a 24-yarder.
What are you listening to right now?
It's my fucking roommate.
I can hear a lot of shit in the background.
He doesn't give a shit about me, so even if I do anything, he won't do anything. He'll just turn it up louder.
I mean, yeah, somebody who doesn't give a shit would definitely climb up their balcony and get in the building.
Yep.
I would agree with you on that. So, yeah, for the Bills, what a storybook. What a story this has been for them. Like, it almost feels like they're destined to go really far and maybe even win the Super Bowl. But, like, I just want to talk about that opening kickoff return.
Oh, my gosh. You couldn't write it any better.
Just incredible. Naeem Hines, he actually had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns, but the first one, it was so special to watch. They did that for Damar. Josh Allen, he said he was in the most disbelief and shock that he's ever been in, and he's like, my God, man, like I'm speechless. This is so spiritual. Like, God is real. Like, it was just incredible. But I'll go on with the stats here. Josh Allen, he went 19 for 31, 254 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Then James Cook led the team in rushing, 9 carries for 45 yards. Then Stephon Diggs, he had 7 receptions for 104 yards and a touchdown. John Brown, he had 1 reception for 42 yards and a touchdown. And then Dawson Knox had 2 receptions for 13 yards and a touchdown. Leading the team on defense is Jordan Poyer with 7 tackles. Then Matt Milano, he had an interception. in this game. Edmonds had an interception in this game, as well as Tre'Davious White having an interception in this game. Gregory Rousseau, he had a sack in this one, and that is the only sack that the Bills could muster up. But that didn't matter because, wait, was it actually Taylon Jones who had the return touchdown? Because
No, it was Naheem Hines.
Okay, it was Naheem Hines. That's what I thought it was. And then Tyler Bass, he just made the 5 extra points for the Bills. So, anything you want to talk about for this game?
Honestly, you have a storybook writing. The very first play after DeMar Hamlin gets injured, Naheem Hines takes it 94 yards to the house. So that's just storybook, and he not only does he do it once, he does it twice. And then it was just unreal to see that. I mean, he's the first player to do that since, gosh, I think the 70s.
It was a really long time. I don't even know if it was done in the history books.
You know, it was someone. It was from someone from Seattle at the time.
Marshawn Lynch.
No, it wasn't Marshawn Lynch. He wasn't a returner. He was a running back.
He probably wasn't even alive at that time. I was making a joke.
No, but
Beastquake.
Yeah, it actually turned 12 year old yesterday. If you didn't see that,
I did notice that. That was like a part of the reason why I brought that up. I was gonna see if you were gonna bring that up at all, but yeah, that play was incredible. I still can't even believe.
I don't know how he did it.
One of the greatest playoff runs of all time.
Yeah, but I think.
Should we go over one more game because the Jets and the Dolphins game was a pretty crucial one?
Yeah, we're at an hour 21 minutes right now, so that one wasn't much of a game. I mean, but sure, we'll go over it. So Jets lost 6-11. I had the Jets winning this one 23-20. You had them winning 13-10. So Joe Flacco started for the Jets. 18 carries, 33 yards, 18 for 33, 149 yards, no touchdowns or interceptions. Zonovan Knight, 12 carries, 22 yards. Garrett Wilson, 9 receptions for 89 yards. For defense, Quincy Williams leads the team in tackles with 9, and he had a sack. And that's all she wrote for the defense. Then Greg Zuerlein, 2 for 3. Longest was 35 yards, so it was a field goal game. All the scores were by field goals.
I think I ended up bringing something up that, like, just barely any scoring was going to go on in this game. But for the Dolphins, who found themselves in as the 7th seed, Skylar Thompson went 20 for 31, 152 yards. Jeff Wilson Jr., he had 16 carries for 72 yards. Right behind following him is Raheem Mostert with 11 carries for 71 yards. Then Mike Gesicki, he had 4 receptions for 46 yards. Jalen Waddle had 5 for 44 yards. And Jalen Waddle, he actually got injured.
Really?
In this game. I don't know if you noticed or saw that.
I did not, no.
I think he had like a high ankle sprain or something. So that's something to keep an eye on if you're a Miami Dolphins fan.
They're playing Buffalo.
It's going to be a really challenging game for them. And we'll go over that very darn shortly here. Javon Holland, 5 tackles in the game. He led the team. Not much else from the Dolphins. Jason Sanders, 3 for 3, making a 50-yarder as his long.
Yeah, obviously you have... Oh, wow. Yeah, then you had like the last hook and ladder stuff. And then that went to the safety. I forgot to say this. National championship game is tonight.
Yes.
And TCU are underdogs by 13.5. So
I'm taking TCU to win.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see them win.
Hold on. According to Ian Rappaport, DeMar Hamlin has been released from the hospital and is now in Buffalo. I can confirm that.
Blessed. That's an incredible story.
It is.
They actually might make a movie about that.
They might.
I wouldn't be shocked at all. And if the Bills win the Super Bowl, I think it's like a storybook type of thing. And people can say things are scripted, but like I don't believe in that shit. I hate how people say it's scripted because everyone's like, the Packers are gonna make the playoffs because it's scripted.
I thought that was me. That was me.
Like,
that was
Seattle
me.
Seahawks fan was saying that type of shit. And look, Seattle, look at where you're at. Like, look where you are right now.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Seattle. Shut the fuck up. That's all I gotta say.
I was Snapchatting my friend during the. She's a Seahawks fan. I was Snapchatting her through the Seattle game, then into the Packer game because we both hate Rodgers, obviously.
Yeah.
But I said, at this point, I want the Rams to win so the Lions could get in. She's like, you know what?
I wanted the Rams to win too.
We both did.
Freaking handed them the game.
I know, but she said I honestly wouldn't be upset because like she said they didn't deserve to be in the playoffs, but yeah,
they don't. They sucked in the second half of the season. They were able to get a win that they needed. Like, congrats to them, but let's be real. Baker Mayfield handed you the football game.
Yes. So
did the refs, but yeah.
So after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks of pick'ems, we have the final record to see who's the regular season champion.
I haven't even looked at this yet, and I'm not going to.
Brenden.
I think it was me, but I don't know.
Brenden, you finished 82-36.
Oh my gosh. Dude, I think you might have tied me.
I finished 80-38.
Let's go.
The two games that like could have been flipped was the Colts and Texans.
I was keeping a big eye on that.
And I was keeping the eye on the Jets and the Colts game. If I would have won those, we would have been tied. It was also huge because I also took the Lions, and then took the Chiefs, and you took the Raiders.
Time out. If you would have won one of them, and then I lost the other, we would have tied, because it's a 2-game differential.
Oh yeah. So
all it took was one football game.
The Jets blew it, and the Colts blew it for me.
Yeah, dude. Dude, talk about our records, though. Those are actually...
I know. I can't wait for next year to see when we go, like, 150 and probably, like, 70-something.
Next year's going to be fun. And hopefully, like, our setups along the way get better.
Yeah, like, so then that leaves it with King Customs going 4-1 as our guest appearance. I will place the crown on your head. Imagine this is a crown.
Ah, yes.
There you go. Your crown.
Ah, feels good. Good. Thank you all. Thank you.
For the most part, I was leading for the most of the season. There was one week, it was week 14, I went 5-8, and that's what really killed me.
That hurts really, really bad.
That was the only game that I did not get over 10 games right. You started 7-7. 9-7, 11-3, 7-6, 11-3, 13-3, 11-4, and you finished 11-5.
So the week that you went, 5-8, I went 7-6. So like, I mean, it's technically a 4-game differential between us there. But wow,
what helped me was
in week for next year, man.
Week 17 is what really got me back into it. When I went 13-2. Was that the best performance out of everyone? Well, you had 13-3.
13-2 is better.
Yeah, but it was because of the DeMar injury. That's why.
Oh, well, I would still say your 13-2 was the best record.
So I think that I'll raise my MVP trophy because I was the most consistent besides that one down week. So My MVP trophy, everyone. Thank you very much. I wouldn't be here without Brenden.
Oh, I thank you, sir. I like in the second half of our picks.
You started going
I
off.
found consistency.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I found really good consistency.
after week 14, where you went 7-6, 11 wins, 13 wins, 11-11. So you were averaging like 11 games per week.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I think now it's time for the playoffs. Honestly, we're gonna do our own playoffs and see.
Oh, I got one more thing to bring up.
Yes.
We're really stupid for choosing the Buccaneers to win. Like we should have known that they were gonna bench their guys.
I didn't really think about that.
Neither did I. Otherwise, I would have chose the Falcons. But
we also did get the Saints wrong too. That ended up 10-7. I think they kicked like a last-second field goal to win.
Yeah, they did.
And I told you because I had them winning
you said
17.
Toss up and
I went with New Orleans because you went with New Orleans. I'm like, if I would have won that game, if I was stuck with my feelings, I would have won. We would have been tied.
You would have been tied. Yup.
Yes.
It's such a difference a game can make.
Yes. But for that, that's it for the Dots podcast down the sidelines. Where, actually, one last thing. 7 out of the 14 teams did not make the playoffs last year. Half the teams did not make the playoffs.
Wow.
Can you name all 7?
Yeah, we'll see if I can do this.
Can you name all 7?
I kind of like this test. So 7 out of 14 didn't make it. Okay, so I'm naming the teams that got in or the teams that didn't get in.
That did not make it last year.
So of course we got the Super Bowl champions, the Rams.
So 7 out of the 14 teams that are in the playoffs now did not make it last year.
Didn't make it last year.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. So the Seahawks, they got in. I'm pretty sure they didn't make it in last year, so I'm gonna go with Seattle.
Let me get the playoff picture right here.
I need to look at I don't want to look at the teams in it. I want to make this more challenging on myself. Gosh, this is actually difficult.
So I have the 2021 and the 2022.
Okay.
I have both pulled up.
Okay, so I'm going to go over the NFC first because I mentioned Seattle right off the bat. So they're the 7 seed. Okay, so going from...
Okay, so you're naming the ones that did not make it last year. All right, go.
Yep, so Seattle, Minnesota... Who else in the NFC? Okay, so I don't know if the Eagles made it or not. So, the Eagles and the Cowboys, they're very questionable to me. I'm trying to think of who won that division last year. I think the Cowboys did, so I don't think the Eagles made it. I'm going to go with the Eagles. It's not the Eagles. Is it the Cowboys?
They both made it. They both made it.
What the heck? Okay. So if we go over those, I feel like the NFC... I feel like that's the NFC wrapped up. Because I know the Buccaneers made it last year.
Buccaneers did make it.
Yup. Anybody else in the NFC? I don't think so. The 49ers made it because they beat the Packers. Yeah. The NFC, so there's only those.
You are incorrect.
What the heck? Okay. The 1 seed is the Eagles. The 2 seeds, the 49ers. Oh, the Giants.
There you go. Yep, Giants.
I couldn't think of them. Got it. Okay, so the rest of them are AFC teams. Okay, so the Ravens didn't make it. The Dolphins didn't make it. Who else? The AFC. So, of course, the Chiefs made it, and the Bills made it, and the Bengals made it. The Chargers didn't make it because of that crazy game at the end of the year last year against the Raiders. Okay, so there's one more team. Who the frick fuck is it? The Jaguars. The Jaguars.
There you go. The team that we were talking about the most. Yep, those are the
Okay.
7 teams that did not make it. So the
It's
7
okay.
teams that are returning are Kansas City, Buffalo,
Yep. Cincinnati.
San
That's
Francisco,
Yep.
Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia
Philadelphia,
Eagles,
Dallas.
and Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay. Yep. I feel like I would have done better by naming the teams who were returning from the playoffs.
Yeah, you
last
probably
season.
would have.
Dude, I struggled thinking of the Giants.
I know. I'm like,
I honestly forgot that they made it into the playoff.
yeah, they did.
Well, of course they did.
I also want to say we'll probably lose this weekend because we're playing at 3:25 and not the new nightmare time. So
we're going to go over our predictions on the next episode. So I feel like that's a good segue into the end of things with us here on Dots.
yes, sir. All right, signing off from the away sideline at Lakeland University is Matt Crawley, a.k.a. Matty Icy.
Signing off here on the home sideline here in Stevens Point. Feels good to be back here in my apartment. Is Brenden Retzloff, a.k.a. Bretts.golf, or 99 Bretts. And we thank you guys for tuning in to the Dots podcast, episode number 16 in the books. We got the
17,
playoff
I
picture.
think. 17.
Gosh damn it.
Oh,
Yeah, I
on
think you're
confirmation. I'm looking this up right now.
right. I think you're right.
Pretty sure this is 17. We need to start writing the episode numbers on top of our script.
Yeah, we're already pretty far in. It's pretty crazy to think of how much we've progressed as the season's gone by. But the playoffs, they're all set up. And
Next
we're going to
Saturday,
see
they
you
begin.
guys. And we are going to see you guys in the next one for our predictions as well as other news that's going around the NFL. We'll see you guys next time.
All right, see you in the playoffs, folks.